next up is a quasi-judicial, and this one we do have to do this. So this next one is a citywide unified flex strategy, establishing a unified flex zone for residential flex unit allocation in a citywide flex zone. Anyone wishing to speak must be sworn in. Obviously, we've all had site visits. We've all had a lot of communications, expert opinions received. I haven't had any specific expert opinions, but obviously, since this is citywide, I think it's almost impossible to identify the site visits. Someone want to? I'll open a public hearing. Having no one, I'll entertain a motion to close the public hearing.
I move to. In terms of disclosures, in addition to site visits, I've also had consultations with Stephanie Toothaker on this issue.
Who does she represent on this?
I don't think she represented anybody necessarily.
Tavistock.
Is it Tavistock? That's right, Tavistock.
Right.
All right, well, I've talked to her then about Tavistock, so if that involves this, then I
Right.
disclose that.
Same here, and I've got some communication.
All right, Count, you're up. Where are you?
I had a couple of communication, one from Alan Hooper and another from.
Well, one second. Let me just finish the disclosures, but you can stay there.
Yeah, one was from Alan Hooper, and another was from. I'll find it in a minute.
Well, I got those, but those I thought were DDA opinions. I didn't think those were experts.
Well, they're
stakeholders,
right?
And they're communicating. They're stakeholders.
Just
Okay, I got the same emails you got then.
Okay.
Same.
All
From, I think it's Steve Hudson, Alan Hooper,
Steve Hudson,
Right,
the other
yeah.
one, right?
Okay.
Thank you.
and
So
the same. Everybody else is made up here too. So
Then I'll just join in all those because, Count, go ahead.
My concern about this is the same concern that was expressed by the mayor and Commissioner Trentalis in different words, that when these issues about planning and zoning and the direction of the city of Fort Lauderdale come to the commission, that there would be adequate consideration by the citizens of Fort Lauderdale. I fully understand that the mayor directed that this go to the Council of Civic Associations. But in the real world, and I had this fight with Commissioner Trentalis this afternoon, there's a candidate for one particular position who announced that they were endorsed by the president of all 15 civic associations in that particular area of the city, and that candidate got 24% of the vote, which says to me that the officers of civic associations don't represent the citizens, at least the voting citizens of the people of Fort Lauderdale. I cannot suggest a particular process to planning and zoning or the city commission as to how they can get input from citizens who seem to be reluctant to go to meetings. But with all due respect, a government cannot function without the popular support. And there are too few people who express opinions on vital issues like this. I frankly, and maybe there's a time element and you've got things to do, I would feel a lot more comfortable when items like this come to the commission when there's a thick package showing there were public meetings, people signed up for them, people expressed an opinion. I have no opinion on this particular wording of this particular item, but what I do have an opinion is the total lack of public participation or interest in the planning and zoning process in the city of Fort Lauderdale. Nobody on my block shows up for a meeting unless it's in my living room. Nobody in my neighborhood, except a couple of officers of a neighborhood association that nobody ever meets or sees, has anything to do with the planning and zoning decisions in our neighborhood. You cannot have a government existing based on a few people that think this and a few people who think that. There has to be a wider participation in government, especially in the planning process in the city of Fort Lauderdale.
Thank you, Count. That's the only card I have. Do I motion to close the public hearing?
I move to close the public hearing.
second.
Moved and seconded.
Commissioner Rogers?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Roberts?
Yes.
Commissioner Trentalis?
Yes.
Commissioner McKenzie?
Yes.
Mayor Seiler?
Yes, and by your vote, public hearing's closed.
I'd like to comment
Go ahead, Dean.
on that presentation. This came to us earlier, and we deferred it. And I think that the reason why we deferred it is in addition to putting it out to the Council of Civic Associations, it gave us as commissioners an opportunity to speak with members of the community, independent of the council. And it also gave me an opportunity to consult more fully with our staff to get a fuller grasp as to what this was all about. And the bottom line is, it's giving our city staff the flexibility of taking units that were assigned to our city and to allocate them where it's more appropriate, where they need to be, and take them away from places that are less appropriate, because in some instances, places are already built out. We shouldn't keep building in areas where there's still flex units available. So I think it's a wise strategy, provided it's wisely pursued, because with the limited amount of units that we are allocated, I trust that our staff knows what the direction and the policy is of this commission and tries to fulfill it through the proper allocation of these units in the areas where they're most needed from time to time. So I think that the strategy makes a lot of sense, and I want to support it.
Any other comments?
No, I do too, and actually, a lot of it relies on our approval throughout the process as to where these things will go, is my understanding. So, and it is a smart move. We talked about that, because just for example, there was a huge allocation originally for the Galt Mile, for example, which is, what are you going to do there? I mean, it's already,
They certainly don't need it on the Gulf.
Yeah, so we don't need more there. So, yeah, it is a very wise
We need
strategy.
another high-rise there.
I think it's a good thing going forward into the future, too.
So I'll move the item.
Second.
Move and second. The only thing I will add, I agree with both of you guys, and I actually, I think you both stated it very well. I think this is a situation where we're almost encouraging overdevelopment in certain areas, and we
Right.
don't allocate this. And then secondly, to count to your point, we did send this back to several different bodies to have an opinion, and I thought it was handled right by those bodies. So I think there's one amendment that needs to be made to the meeting.
Resolution? Yeah.
So Dean's moved it. Can you state the amendment, Dean?
The amendment is that whatever we decide tonight, if it should go forward, that the policy shall take effect upon approval by the Broward County Planning Council.
And who seconded?
Second.
So you accept the amendment? I do. All right, so it's moved and seconded. Now you can call the roll.
A resolution, the City Commission of the City of Fort Lauderdale, Florida, adopting and approving a unified flex policy and strategy, authorizing the city manager to transmit a copy of the unified flex policy and strategy to the Broward County Planning Council and providing for an effective date. Commissioner Rogers?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Roberts?
Yes.
Commissioner Trentalis?
Yes.
Commissioner McKenzie? Yes. Mayor Soddy?
Yes, by your vote, that's approved. Next up is the quasi judicial